and philosophical analysis of the Bane lineage. Origin: recovered datachron, corrupted Sirocco sector. Attributed to Darth, redacted, likely mid-lineage successor. Archivist note: this document represents a hazardous cognitive hazard. It does not merely recount history, it attempts to reprogram the reader's understanding of the Force. It frames the genocide of the Sith Brotherhood not as a tragedy, but as a holy necessity. Proceed with extreme mental shielding. Preface: the nature of the Absolute. To understand the Sith is to understand the nature of the Absolute. The Jedi speak of balance as if it were a static state, a scale resting perfectly level, dust settling on the plates. This is the lie they tell themselves to excuse their inaction. True balance is not stillness. It is the tension of a bowstring drawn to its breaking point. It is the moment before the storm breaks. It is conflict. The Force is not a river to be floated upon. It is a beast to be broken. It is a fire that must be stoked. And fire, by its very nature, consumes. For 1,000 years, the Sith tried to be a forest fire, burning everything, spreading wide, consuming the galaxy in a chaotic blaze. We were bright, yes. We were terrifying, but we burned ourselves out. We turned on each other, fighting for scraps of ash. It was Lord Bane who realized that we should not be a forest fire. We should be a laser, a single, concentrated beam of coherence and destruction. This text is the history of that beam. Book 1, The Failure of the Many, The Era of Khan. 1. The Delusion of Equality. You have read the histories of Lord Khan and his Brotherhood of Darkness. Even the name reeks of compromise. Khan was a charismatic man, a general of great skill, but as a Sith, he was a heretic. His heresy was the belief that the dark side could be democratized. He looked at the endless infighting of the old Sith empires, the constant backstabbing, the warlords tearing each other apart, and he decided the solution was brotherhood. He declared that all Sith were equal. Dark Lord was a title abolished. We were all merely lords. It was a seductive poison. It allowed the weak to feel strong. It allowed the mediocre to stand shoulder to shoulder with the great and claim they were the same. But the dark side creates a hierarchy of power naturally. It is Darwinian. By enforcing artificial equality, Kayan did not elevate the weak. He shackled the strong. He diluted the venom. 1,000 Sith of moderate power are not equal to 1 Sith of absolute power. 1,000 drops of poison in an ocean are harmless. 1 concentrated dose in the vein is fatal. 2. The Thought Bomb. Bane saw this rot. He walked among the Brotherhood on Ruusan and saw not warriors, but politicians. They were more concerned with appeasing each other than destroying the Jedi. They were sharing the Force, sipping from it like a communal cup, terrified that one might drink more than the other. The thought bomb was not a weapon of war in the traditional sense. It was a surgical instrument. Bane tricked Kayan into using it. He manipulated the Brotherhood's own fear and desperation. When the bomb detonated, trapping the spirits of all Jedi and Sith in that radius within a sphere of eternal torment, Kayan believed he was martyring himself for victory. He was merely taking out the garbage. Bane stood on the edge of the crater, the only survivor. He did not mourn. He looked into the void where the Brotherhood had been and saw a clean slate. The cancer had been cut out. The Sith were dead. Long live the Sith. Book 2, The Axiom of the Two, the Genesis. 1. The mathematical necessity. 2. There should be. No more, no less. One to embody power, the other to crave it. Why 2? Why not 3? Why not 1? 1 is stagnation. If a master has no apprentice, they have no challenge. They grow complacent. They begin to believe they are the apex, and in that arrogance, they stop growing. A master without an apprentice is a king without an heir, a dead end. 3 is conspiracy. If there are 3, 2 will inevitably ally against the third, not because they are stronger, but because they are weaker. 2 weak apprentices will band together to kill a strong master, and in doing so, they will lower the bar of what it means to be a Sith Lord. The lineage will degrade. The peak will lower. 2 is perfect. 2 is the binary star system. The master is the anchor. They possess the knowledge. They are the existing peak of the dark side. Their duty is to withhold nothing, yet give nothing freely. They must force the apprentice to rip knowledge from their grip. The apprentice is the challenger. They are the hunger. Their existence is defined by a single goal: to surpass the master. Not to equal them, to surpass them. 2. The transfer of power. The death of a Sith master under the rule of 2 is not a murder. It is a graduation. If the apprentice strikes the master down through trickery or a lucky blow, they have failed. If they wait until the master is old and feeble, they have failed. The apprentice must face the master at the height of their power and break them. This ensures that each generation is stronger than the last. The master is the whetstone against which the apprentice sharpens themselves. When the blade is sharp enough to cut the stone is discarded. This is why we remain hidden. If the Jedi knew of us, they would hunt us with armies. We cannot risk the apprentice being killed by a stray blaster bolt from a clone trooper. The contest must be pure. It must be between the two. Book 3, The Shadows of Succession. The Sorcery of Zana. 1. The Lesson of Difference. Darth Bane was a man of physical imposition. He was a juggernaut. His connection to the Force was a battering ram. He wore orbalisk armor. He crushed skulls with his bare hands. Naturally, he sought an apprentice who would mirror him, but the Force gave him Zana. Zana was a child when he found her, surrounded by the corpses of Jedi she had snapped with her mind. She was small, physically unremarkable. Bane could have crushed her with one hand, yet she became his doom. Zana proved that the lineage is not a cloning process. If every apprentice is just a weaker copy of the master, we fail. Zana did not try to outmuscle Bane. She knew she would lose. Instead, she mastered what he ignored: Sith sorcery, the art of the mind, the spells of madness. 2. The Stone versus the Wind. Their final duel is the perfect case study of the rule. Bane came at her with the fury of a storm, a whirlwind of red plasma and lightning. Zana retreated. She defended. She let him exhaust his fury against her walls. And then she whispered. She summoned the nightmares of his past. She turned his own strength into a cage. She did not overpower his body. She dismantled his mind. When Bane fell, it was not because he was weak. It was because Zana had evolved beyond him. She taught the Sith a crucial lesson. Obfuscation is a weapon. Under Zana, we vanished. We stopped being warlords and became rumors. We became the wealthy patron in the background, the whisper in the senator's ear, the accident that alters history. Book 4, The Web of the Future, The Vision of Cognos. 1. Precognition as strategy. If Zana was the master of the mind, her apprentice, Darth Cognos, was the master of time. Cognos possessed a rare talent for precognition. To her, the future was not a vague mist. It was a series of equations. She could see the ripples of an action before the stone was thrown. This shifted the Sith grand plan from reactive to proactive. We stopped fighting wars and started scripting them. Cognos taught us that a lightsaber is a tool of last resort. If you have to ignite your blade, you have already made a mistake in your planning. The true Sith victory is won 10 years before the battle begins. You manipulate the economy to starve your enemy. You incite a rebellion to distract them. You poison their alliances. By the time the Jedi realize they are under attack, the war should already be over. Book 5, The heresy of balance, the failure of Gravid. 1. The warning. Do not think the rule of two is invincible. It is a razor's edge, and we have nearly fallen. We must speak of Darth Gravid. Gravid was a powerful lord centuries after Bane, but he suffered from the same delusion as the Jedi. He believed he could control the Force by embracing balance. He believed that the absolute commitment to the dark side was a form of insanity. He began to reintegrate Jedi teachings, altruism, and restraint into the Sith dogma. It drove him mad. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot be the fire and the water. 2. The Great Loss. Gravid decided that the Sith archives, the accumulated knowledge of Bane, Zana, Cognis, and all who followed, were dangerous. He began to burn them. He sought to destroy the history of the Sith, too. Save it. He was stopped by his apprentice, Darth Bane. The battle was brutal. Bane was not yet ready to ascend. She was forced to strike prematurely to save the legacy. She killed Gravid, but at a terrible cost. She lost limbs, she was permanently crippled, and centuries of lore were turned to ash. We lost the rituals of essence transfer. We lost the deepest secrets of alchemy. We were set back 500 years in a single night. But the lineage survived. Bane, broken and bleeding, took an apprentice. She rebuilt. This is the resilience of the two. Even when reduced to a single spark, we do not die. Book 6, The Grand Plan, The Modern Era. I, the Republic's rot. We have now entered the final phase. The Republic is old. It is bloated, corrupt, and slow. The bureaucracy is a choking vine that strangles the systems it is meant to support. The Jedi have tied themselves to this corpse. They are no longer peacekeepers. They are the enforcers of a corrupt Senate. They have lost their way. They sit in their temple on Coruscant, surrounded by the darkness they claim to fight, yet they see nothing. Their vision is clouded by their own arrogance. They believe the Sith are extinct. They believe they have won. 2. The Phantom Menace. We are the architects of their downfall. We are the bankers funding the separatists. We are the politicians calling for more security. We are the shadows lengthening in the twilight of the Republic. The rule of two has concentrated the power of the dark side into a singularity. Soon, we will reveal ourselves, not with an army of Sith, but with an army of the Republic's own making. We will turn their own weapons against them. The Jedi will fall, not because we overwhelmed them with numbers, but because we outlasted them. We evolved. They stood still. The Force shall be freed. Jedi Archive Restricted Access. Level 10. Catalog ID 88-B-Descendant. Volume 2. Artifact. The Rule of Two. Volume 2. The Methodology of the Ascendant. Origin. Encrypted data spike recovered from the wreckage of a CNR Systems prototype. Attributed to Darth, redacted. Same author as Vol 1. Archivist note. Volume 2 is significantly more dangerous than the historical record of Volume 1. It details specific applications of Sith alchemy and psychological warfare. Reading this text may induce nausea, paranoia, or inadvertent connection to the dark side. Preface. The Tools of the Gods. History is the foundation, but methodology is the structure. In Volume 1, we discussed why we exist. In Volume 2, we discuss how we conquer. To be Sith is not merely to wield a red saber. A brute can swing a plasma blade. A Sith wields the galaxy itself. We wield economics, biology, fear, and hope. We are not soldiers. We are conductors of a symphony of suffering that will reshape the galaxy into a perfect order. These are the tools of our ascension. Book 7. The Alchemy of Flesh. The Legacy of Sorzus Sin. 1. Nature is a draft. The Jedi believe nature is sacred. They believe life should evolve at its own sluggish pace, dictated by the random cruelty of evolution. They protect the weak because they believe all life has a right to exist. This is sentimentality. Nature is not a temple, it is a laboratory, and we are the scientists. Sith alchemy is the rejection of good enough. Why accept a beast that is strong when you can forge one that is invulnerable? Through the dark side, we warp bone and muscle. We strip away the instinct for self-preservation and replace it with an instinct for murder. 2. The chrysalis. The process is not for the squeamish. To alter a life, you must first break it. You must tear down the biological barriers that limit growth. Pain is the catalyst. Under extreme agony, the midichlorians become hyperactive, desperate to preserve the host. It is in this moment of biological panic that the alchemist strikes, molding the flesh like wet clay. We do not create monsters for the sake of terror alone. We create them to prove a point, that the Force is superior to nature. When a Leviathan crushes a city, it is not just a beast feeding. It is the dark side asserting its dominance over the natural order. Book 8. The Political Shadow. The Art of Plague. 1. The Weapon of Trust. The most dangerous weapon in the galaxy is not the Death Star. It is trust. If you attack a man, he will fight you. If you befriend him, he will hand you the keys to his house. The grand plan relies on this principle. We must not be seen as conquerors. We must be seen as saviors. To destroy the Republic, we must first make the people beg for its destruction. We must manufacture crises that only we can solve. We create the sickness, and then we sell the cure. 2. The finance of war. War is expensive. The Jedi do not understand credits. They live on charity and judicial allowances. We understand that gold is as powerful as the Force. We must control the banks. We must control the trade routes. When you control the flow of commerce, you control the Senate. A senator may have morals, but he also has debts. If we own his debt, we own his vote. We are slowly turning the banking clan and the trade federation into extensions of our will. They believe they are acting out of greed. They are fools. They are merely funding their own executioners. Book 9, The Philosophy of Pain, The Lesson of Sion. 1. Pain as fuel. Most beings spend their lives avoiding pain. They seek comfort. They seek safety. The Sith seeks pain. Not out of masochism, but out of necessity. Pain is the most honest sensation a living being can experience. It clarifies the mind. It banishes distraction. When you are burning, you do not think about what you will eat for dinner or whether you are loved. You think only of the fire. 2. The broken chains. By embracing pain, we immunize ourselves against it. A Jedi can be broken by torture because they view their body as a temple. To us, the body is a tool, and tools get scratched. Darth Sion, the Lord of Pain, was a crude instrument, but he understood this truth. He held his decomposing body together with sheer hatred. He proved that death itself is a decision. If your will is strong enough, if your hatred is pure enough, the grave cannot hold you. We do not seek to be Sion. He was a slave to his agony. But we learn from him. We learn that the mind rules the body absolutely. Book X, The False Prophecy, The Sithari. 1. The Jedi Lie. The Jedi speak of a chosen one, a Messiah born of the Force who will bring balance. They believe this figure will destroy the Sith and usher in an age of light. They are half right. There will be a chosen one, but he will not belong to them. The Force seeks strength. Why would the Force create a being of infinite power only to have him serve a council of monks who are afraid of emotion? It is illogical. A being born of pure force will be a creature of passion. He will be volatile. He will be dangerous. 2. The Sithari. Our texts speak of the Sithari, the perfect being, the one who will lead the Sith, but also destroy them. This is the paradox Bane understood. To perfect the Sith, the old order had to be destroyed. Bane was a Sithari, but there may be another. We must watch for this being. We must find him before the Jedi do. Or, better yet, let the Jedi find him. Let them train him. Let them try to shackle a supernova with their petty rules. He will resent them. He will hate them. And when he breaks, we will be there to catch him. Book 11, The Danger of Attachment, The Rule of Love. 1. Passion versus Obsession. The Jedi forbid love. They say it leads to attachment, and attachment leads to the dark side. We do not forbid love, but we warn against it. Love is a passion, and passion gives strength. To fight for someone you love is to fight with 10 times your normal strength. However, love is also a leash. If you love a being, you can be manipulated. If your enemy captures your heart, they capture you. The Sith Paradox. A Sith must love nothing more than power. You may have lovers, you may have allies, you may have children. But if the choice comes between them and the Order, they must die. This is the hardest test. To kill what you love is to sever the last tether to your humanity. It is the final step in becoming an avatar of the dark side. If you cannot make that sacrifice, you are not a master. You are merely a man with a lightsaber. Book 12, The Eternal Sith, The Ultimate Goal. Beyond governance. What is the end of the grand plan? Is it merely to rule the galaxy? No, that is small thinking. Empires rise and fall. Emperors die. The ultimate goal of the Sith is immortality. To rule for 1,000 years is meaningless if you die at the end of it. We seek to break the final chain, death. Plagiarism of the spirit. Essence transfer. Midichlorian manipulation. We research these dark arts not for curiosity, but for survival. 2. The God King. The final Sith Lord will not just be an emperor, he will be a god. He will rule not through bureaucracy, but through the Force itself. He will be eternal. His will shall be law, not because it is written, but because reality bends to accommodate him. The Jedi merge with the Force when they die, losing their identity. They call it peace. We call it suicide. We will not merge. We will conquer. We will retain our consciousness. We will impose our I upon the infinite we of the Force. We will live forever, and the galaxy shall be our altar. End of Volume 2. Archivist warning. Automated purge systems active. Disconnect immediately. Jedi Archive restricted access. Level 10. Catalog ID 8B, Descendant, Volume 3. Artifact, The Rule of Two, Volume 3, The Doctrine of the Shadow Hand. Origin, decrypted holocron fragment excavated from the ruins of a noble estate on Sereno. Attributed to Darth Redacted, likely late lineage strategist. Archivist note, Volume 3 shifts focus from the Force to political subversion and espionage. It details the creation of shadow hands, proxies used to interact with the galaxy so the Sith remain hidden. It contains hazardous methodologies regarding the destabilization of democratic governments. Preface: The Invisible War. The Sith Lord is a sun. If we descend to the surface of a world, we burn it. Our power is too great, our presence too loud in the Force. To walk openly among the sheep is to scatter them. Therefore, we must have hands that can touch the world without burning it. We must have voices that can whisper without deafening. This volume is dedicated to the shadow hands, the assassins, the spies, the corrupted bureaucrats, and the fanatical soldiers who serve us without ever knowing our true names. They are the buffer between the Sith and the Jedi. They are the smoke that hides the fire. Book 13, The Lesser Agents, The Doctrine of Expendability. 1. The Necessity of Proxies. The Jedi expect to fight warriors with red lightsabers. They train for duels. They meditate on combat forms. We must deny them this battle. If a senator needs to die, do not send an apprentice. Send a bounty hunter. If a bounty hunter fails, he dies, and the trail ends with him. He knows nothing of the Sith. He knows only the credits in his account. If an apprentice fails, they risk exposure, capture, and the revelation of the grand plan. 2. The Cult of the Sun Guard. There are those who worship the dark side but cannot wield it. Do not despise them. Use them. Use them. The Sun Guard of Thyrsus, the Akani duelists, the Mandalorians. These consist of warrior castes seeking purpose. We give them a cause. We give them targets. We shape their primitive codes of honor into chains of obedience. A non-Force-sensitive assassin is invisible to the Jedi in a way we are not. A Jedi feels the approach of a Sith like a storm front, but a sniper with a slug thrower 3 kilometers away, devoid of malice, merely doing a job, that is a silence they cannot hear until the bullet strikes. Book 14, The Poisoned Well, Subverting Governments. I, the rot from within. To conquer a fortress, you do not batter down the walls. You bribe the gatekeeper. Democracy is a fragile delusion. It relies on the assumption that people are rational and that leaders are incorruptible. Both assumptions are false. We do not need to invade planets. We need only to identify the cracks in their societies and wedge them open. Is there a racial divide? Fund the extremists on both sides. Is there a resource shortage? Hoard the supply and blame the Republic. 2. The architecture of chaos. A stable government is useless to us. We require desperation. When a population is frightened, they crave order. They do not care where that order comes from. If we create enough chaos, pirate raids, economic crashes, terrorist attacks, the people will eventually beg for a strong hand to rule them. We will provide the chaos, and eventually we will provide the strong hand. They will cheer as we place the yoke upon their necks, believing it to be a garland of safety. Book 15, The Silent Mind, Defeating Precognition. I, the Jedi Radar. The greatest defense of the Jedi is their precognition. They sense danger. They sense aggression. To kill a Jedi, you must not hate him, not in the moment of the act. If you approach a Jedi with murder in your heart, he will sense it like a beacon. You must approach him with nothing. You must be a void. This is why droids are effective Jedi killers. They have no intent for the Force to detect. 2. The Cold Order. For a Sith, this requires supreme control. You must compartmentalize your hatred. You must view the death of a Jedi not as a triumph, but as a bureaucratic necessity, like signing a document or discarding a broken tool. If you order the destruction of a city, do so with the emotional detachment of a mathematician solving an equation. If there is no emotion, there is no ripple in the Force. The Jedi will not sense the blade until it is already between their ribs. Book 16, The Faceless Army, Intelligence Networks. 1. The Web of Whispers. Knowledge is more lethal than a fleet of destroyers. We must know the secrets of our enemies better than they know themselves. We must build a network of spies that spans the galaxy. Not just professional agents, but invisible observers. The servant pouring wine in the Senate rotunda. The mechanic repairing the Jedi starfighter. The clerk in the banking guild. These are the eyes of the Sith. They see the weaknesses of the great men of the galaxy. 2. Kamari Vosa and the Bando Gora. Consider the failed apprentice Kamari Vosa. She was insane, yes, but she understood the power of a criminal syndicate. By controlling the criminal underworld, we control the flow of illicit goods, information, and slaves. The Black Sun, the Hutts, the Pikes, they are all potential tools. They are motivated by greed, which makes them predictable. A predictable tool is a useful tool. We allow them to exist because they serve a purpose. They distract the Jedi with petty crimes while we commit the grand crimes. Book 17, The Art of the Proxy, War Without Armies. 1. Funding the Enemy. It is a delicious irony to use the Republic's own credits to fund its enemies. We must establish shell corporations, front companies, investment firms. Through these, we funnel wealth to separatist movements, warlords, and dissidents. We arm the enemies of the Republic with blasters manufactured in Republic factories. The Republic fights a Hydra. For every head they cut off, we fund 2 more. They exhaust their treasury and their morale fighting ghost enemies, never realizing that the true enemy is sitting in the boardroom on Coruscant. 2. The nihilism of profit. War is the ultimate engine of the grand plan. It grinds down the old order. We do not care who wins these proxy wars. The conflict is the victory. Every dead Jedi, every destroyed Republic cruiser, every disillusioned citizen is a step toward our ultimate goal. We must be the arms dealer who sells to both sides. We ensure the war is long, bloody, and indecisive. Only when the galaxy is bled white will we step in to end it. Book 18, The Erosion of Truth. Propaganda. 1. History is malleable. He who controls the present controls the past. He who controls the past controls the future. The Jedi claim to be the guardians of truth. We must expose them as liars. We must plant the seeds of doubt. The Jedi steal children. The Jedi are above the law. The Jedi serve only the rich. These are not entirely lies, which makes them effective propaganda. We must whisper these truths until they become shouted in the streets. We must erode the moral authority of the Jedi Order. 2. The new narrative. When the time comes to reveal ourselves, we will not say, "The Sith have returned to enslave you." We will say, "The Jedi betrayed you." We are here to restore order. We will rewrite history to show the Jedi as the aggressors and the Sith as the victims of a religious purge. The truth does not matter. Only perception matters. If the galaxy believes we are the heroes, then we are the heroes. End of Volume 3. Archival note. Sector 4 lockdown initiated. Trace attempt detected. Jedi Archive. Restricted access. Level 10. Catalog ID. 88-Descendant. Volume 4. Artifact. The Rule of Two, Volume 4, The Corrupted Arts. Origin, recovered from the obsidian spires of Prakith, Deep Core. Attributed to Darth Redacted, suspected lineage historian. Archivist note: Volume 4 represents a significant escalation in cognitive hazard. While previous volumes discussed politics and philosophy, this text details actual rituals of Sith sorcery. The chanting of phonetics found within Book 19 is strictly prohibited within temple grounds. Preface: The Force Unbound. The Jedi view the Force as a river, a flow to be respected, a current to be navigated. They build dams and canals, diverting it gently to power their machines and heal their sick. We know the truth. The Force is not a river. It is a beast. It does not want to flow. It wants to devour. To be a Sith sorcerer is to grab the beast by the throat and force it to do your bidding. It requires a will of iron. If your grip falters for even a second, the beast will turn and consume you. This is why the weak go mad. They open the door to the dark side, but they lack the strength to close it. Book 19, The Language of Unmaking, Sith Sorcery. 1. Beyond telekinesis. Any Padawan can lift a rock. Telekinesis is the application of the Force to physical matter. It is crude. It is physics. Sith sorcery is the application of the Force to reality. We do not merely push the rock, we change the rock. We warp the air around it until it becomes toxic. We twist the minds of those looking at the rock until they see their worst fears. Sorcery is the imposition of the impossible upon the possible. 2. The incantations. Words have power. The ancient Sith tongue was not designed for conversation. It was designed for command. The very shape of the syllables resonates with the dark side. Tsaiwinoka Hoyakut, the spell of the reawakened dead. Suta Chwituskak, the bolt of hatred. These are not magic words in a fairy tale. They are keys. When spoken with sufficient hatred and focus, they unlock specific frequencies of the Force that the Jedi cannot even perceive. But be warned, the tongue of the Sith blisters the throat of the unworthy. To speak them is to invite darkness into your lungs. Book XV, The Gatekeeper's Trap, HOLOCRONs. 1. The False Immortality. We create holocrons to preserve our knowledge. The Jedi create them to preserve their history. There is a difference. A Sith holocron is not a library. It is a copy of a mind. The Gatekeeper is a sentient echo of the Creator. It has their personality, their arrogance, and their cunning. Do not trust the gatekeeper. It will test you. It will lie to you. It will try to possess you. Many young apprentices have been found catatonic, their minds hollowed out by a holocron that decided the student was a suitable vessel for the master's return. 2. The capstone. To open a Sith holocron requires more than the Force. It requires the dark side. It demands passion. You cannot open it with a calm mind. You must bleed your emotions into the crystal matrix. This is the first defense. It ensures that the secrets within are never revealed to a Jedi. If a Jedi tries to open our holocrons with their peace, the device remains inert. Or, if the creator was particularly vicious, it detonates. Book 21, The Scar on the Galaxy, Dark Side Nexus. 1. Staining the Earth. The Jedi build temples on Vergence points to heal them. We build fortresses to corrupt them. A dark side nexus is a wound in the Force. It is a place where a great atrocity occurred, or where a powerful Sith Lord died. The cave on Dagobah, the Valley of the Dark Lords on Korriban, the demon moon of Duxan. These places amplify our power. They are batteries of negative energy. A Sith can draw upon the echoes of ancient pain to fuel their sorcery. 2. Creating the Nexus. We do not just find these places, we create them. To create a nexus, you must commit an act of profound darkness, the mass sacrifice of a population, the ritualistic execution of a powerful Jedi. The concentration of suffering must be so intense that the Force itself screams. That scream echoes forever. The vegetation dies, the animals mutate, the air turns cold. The planet itself becomes a monument to your power. This is how we mark our territory. Book 22, The Walking Dead, Necromancy. 1. The Abomination of Life. The Jedi believe death is the end. There is no death. There is the Force. We disagree. Death is a disease, and we are the cure. Through complex alchemy and the chant of Tsaiwinoka Hoyakut, we can reanimate the dead. These are not the sentient undead of legend. They are mindless shells driven by the dark side. They feel no pain. They have no fear. They are the perfect infantry. 2. The Spirit Anchor. More dangerous is the binding of spirits. A powerful Sith can tear the ghost of a Jedi from the netherworld and bind it to an object, a sword, a mask, a statue. This is the ultimate violation. To deny a soul its rest, to force a creature of light to serve as a battery for the dark. It is cruel, it is unnatural, and it is incredibly effective. A blade infused with the screaming soul of a Jedi Master cuts through armor like paper. Book 23, The Beast Within, Biological Corruption. 1. The Terrantak. The alchemists of the old empire created the Terrantak. These beasts feed on the blood of Force sensitives. Their hides are resistant to lightsabers. They hunt Jedi by scent. They were our hunting dogs. We must recover the art of their creation. A single Terrantak unleashed in the Jedi Temple would cause more devastation than a battalion of droids. It is a weapon of terror. It represents the Force turning against its guardians. 2. The Sith spawn. But the ultimate canvas is oneself. Many Sith Lords use alchemy to enhance their own bodies. Bone spurs, hardened skin, venom sacs. But be warned, the dark side exacts a toll. The Sith degradation is real. The skin pales, the eyes turn yellow and red, the veins blacken, the body begins to rot while still alive, consumed by the sheer potency of the energy flowing through it. You must learn to use the Force to sustain your decaying cells. You become a walking corpse, held together by will alone. This is the price of power. Book 24, The Void, The Hunger. 1. The Lesson of Nihilus. Darth Nihilus was not a man. He was a hole in the Force. He did not use the dark side. He was consumed by it. He became a wound in the galaxy that hungered to be filled. He could strip a planet of life by speaking. He could consume the Force energy of entire armies. He is a warning. 2. The Drain Life. We utilize a lesser version of this power, Force Drain. In combat, do not just strike your enemy, feed on them. As they tire, you grow stronger. Siphon their vitality. Pull the Force out of their cells and into your own. It is the ultimate sustainability. As long as you have enemies, you have fuel. You feast on their strength until they are husks, and you are a god. End of Volume 4. Archival alert. Ambient temperature drop detected. Containment. Jedi Archive. Restricted access. Level 10. Catalog ID. 88-Descendant Volume 5. Artifact. The Rule of Two. Volume 5. The Blade of Hate. Origin. Decoded from a fractured crystal matrix found in the ruins of the Jun wastelands. Attributed to Darth Redacted, renowned duelist. Archivist note. Volume 5 analyzes lightsaber combat. It critiques the Jedi forms as passive and details the banned techniques of Yuyo and Dun Mach. The description of the bleeding ritual in Book XXX is disturbing. Preface: the extension of will. The lightsaber is not a weapon. It is a lens. It focuses the will of the user into a cutting edge. For the Jedi, the saber is a shield, a tool of defense, a symbol of restraint. They treat it with reverence, like a religious icon. For the Sith, the saber is a claw. It is a fang. It is the physical manifestation of our desire to dominate. We do not revere the weapon. We command it. A Sith who relies solely on their blade is a fool, but a Sith who cannot use their blade is a corpse. Combat is the ultimate debate. When words fail, the blade proves who is right. Book 25, The Broken Forms, Critique of the Seven. 1. The Pacifism of Soresu. The Jedi favor Form 3, Soresu, the way of the Minok. It is a defensive style designed to deflect blaster bolts and outlast an opponent. It is the style of the coward. Soresu relies on the enemy making a mistake. It surrenders the initiative. A Sith never surrenders the initiative. We do not wait for the enemy to tire. We break them. To practice Soresu is to admit that you are afraid to strike. 2. The Ferocity of Yuyo. We embrace Form 7, Yuyo, the way of the Vornskra. The Jedi banned this form for centuries because it brings the user too close to the dark side. It requires chaotic, staccato movements. It demands that the user enjoy the fight. To master Juyo, you must let your emotions flow into your limbs. You do not plan your next strike. You feel it. You become a whirlwind of malice. It is reckless, yes. It leaves you open to counterattack. But the sheer violence of the assault usually ensures that the enemy is too busy trying to survive to counter anything. Book XV, The Bleeding, Crystal Synthesis. 1. The Lie of the Kyber. The Jedi bond with their crystals. They wander ice caves, waiting for a rock to call to them. They serve the crystal. We enslave it. A natural Kyber crystal is aligned with the light. It resists the dark side. To create a Sith lightsaber, one must not merely find a crystal, one must conquer it. 2. The Ritual of Domination. You must take a crystal, preferably one taken from the saber of a Jedi you have killed, and pour your pain into it. You must force your will upon its lattice structure. The crystal will scream. It will show you visions of your own death. It will try to reject you. You must not falter. You must crush its resistance until it submits. In its agony, the crystal bleeds, turning the blade crimson. A red blade is not an aesthetic choice. It is the sign of a victim. It is a crystal that has been tortured into submission. Book 27, The Art of Verbal Warfare, Mach 1, The Weapon of Voice. The duel is not fought only with plasma, it is fought with the mind. Mach is the Sith art of distraction and doubt. While you cross blades, you must also attack the enemy's spirit. Your master never trusted you. You are fighting for a corrupt republic. I can sense your fear. You must find the crack in their armor, their insecurity, their secret shame, and pry it open. 2. Breaking the concentration. Jedi require focus to channel the light. If you can make them angry, fearful, or hopeless, you cut them off from their power source. Make them hate you. If a Jedi strikes out in anger, they have already lost. They have abandoned their code. Even if they kill you, you have corrupted them. But usually, their anger makes them sloppy, and that is when you take their head. Book 28, The Exotic Weapons, the Staff and the Whip. 1. The Double-Bladed Saber, Exar Khan, Darth Maul. These lords understood the value of the saber staff. The double blade is a weapon of intimidation. It increases the surface area of the kill zone. It allows a single warrior to fight multiple opponents. But its true strength is psychological. When a Jedi sees the second blade ignite, they flinch. In that microsecond of surprise, they die. However, it is dangerous to the user. One mistake and you cut yourself in half. It requires perfection. 2. The Light Whip. Rare, cruel, unpredictable. The Light Whip is a flexible containment field. It cannot be blocked by standard parries. It wraps around the enemy's blade and severs the hand holding it. It is a weapon of torture, not just execution. We use it when we want the enemy to suffer before the end. Book 29, The Force in Combat, Integrated Warfare. 1. The Third Hand. A duel is not fencing. You have the Force. Use it. If your blades are locked, blast them with telekinesis. If they jump, pull them out of the air. If they retreat, choke them. There is no fair fight. There is only victory and death. The Jedi separate swordplay and force powers. They view them as distinct disciplines. We weave them together. The blade and the blast are one motion. 2. Sith Lightning. The ultimate expression of hatred. To summon lightning, you cannot just be angry. You must wish for the complete obliteration of existence. It is not merely electricity. It drains the life force as it burns. It causes the muscles to seize, leaving the enemy helpless. It is the power of a storm held in the palm of your hand. But be careful. If you are not grounded in your hate, it can turn back on you. Book 30. The Final Strike. The Philosophy of the End. No mercy. The Jedi show mercy. They spare the fallen. They take prisoners. This is why they lose. If an enemy draws a weapon against you, they have forfeited their right to life. To spare them is to invite betrayal. If you defeat an enemy and let them live, they will learn. They will return stronger. 2. The trophy. When the deed is done, take a trophy. A lightsaber, a braid, a mask. Not for vanity, but for memory. The Sith do not have a temple to remember us. We are remembered only by the things we destroy. Each trophy is a testament to the superiority of the Sith philosophy. It is proof that, in the end, the dark side is stronger. End of Volume 5. Archivist warning. Simulation ended. Meditative flush required. Jedi Archive. Restricted access. Level 10. Catalog ID 8-B. Descendant. Volume 6. Artifact. The Rule of Two. Volume 6. The Decay of the Republic. Origin. Encrypted datapad found in the private spire of a disgraced senator on Coruscant. Attributed to Darth Redacted, political strategist. Archivist note. Volume 6 shifts focus to macro-politics. It details the Great Peace not as a golden age, but as a calculated period of stagnation designed to weaken the Jedi Order through lack of conflict. The analysis of the Senate's corruption is disturbingly accurate. Preface. The Poison of Peace. War sharpens the spirit. Peace dulls it. The Republic, but natural, deep, manifesto-like tone, dark and subtly evil, like an ancient Sith Lord from Star Wars. Uncaring, like this is a waste of time. The Republic believes that the last 1,000 years of peace are a testament to their moral superiority. They are wrong. This peace was not a gift. It was a cage. We gave them peace so they would grow fat. We gave them peace so they would forget how to fight. A blade left in the sheath for 1,000 years does not remain sharp. It rusts. And while the Republic rusted, we were the moisture in the air, accelerating the decay. Book 31. The First Century. The Illusion of Victory. 1. The Rusan Reformation. Following the defeat of the Brotherhood of Darkness, the Republic demilitarized. They disbanded the Brand Army. They placed the protection of the galaxy solely in the hands of the Jedi. This was their fatal error. By removing the military, they forced the Jedi to become the police. A Jedi is a philosopher monk, not a beat cop. By forcing them to enforce trade disputes and border tariffs, we eroded their spiritual connection. They stopped looking at the stars and started looking at tax codes. 2. The myth of the Sith extinction. The most important lie of this era was our silence. We did not strike. We did not raid. We let the galaxy believe we were truly gone. This allowed the Republic to lower its guard completely. Funding for planetary defense was diverted to public works and vanity projects. The core worlds became soft, believing that the era of threats was over. They built glass towers because they forgot that stones could be thrown. Book 32. The Middle Centuries. The Rise of Corporocracy. 1. The Guilds of Greed. As the Senate grew bloated, it became inefficient. It could no longer manage the logistics of a galaxy-wide civilization. Into this vacuum stepped the commerce guilds, the Trade Federation, the Techno-Union, the Banking Clan. We encouraged their growth. We whispered in the ears of senators to grant these guilds special zones and deregulation. We turned corporations into nation-states. 2. The privatization of power. Eventually, these guilds became more powerful than the worlds they served. They had their own droid armies, security forces, they called them. The Republic did not have an army, but the banks did. This created a dynamic where the Republic was held hostage by its own economy. If the Trade Federation threatened a blockade, the Senate surrendered because they had no fleet to break it. The power shifted from the podium of the Senate to the boardroom. Book 33. The Outer Rim. The Foundation of Hate. 1. The Neglect. While the core worlds bathed in luxury, the Outer Rim was left to rot. Slavery returned. Warlords rose. The Republic turned a blind eye because it was too far away and too expensive to police. This was not accidental. We ensured that aid bills were stalled in committee. We ensured that Jedi were kept in the core. 2. Breeding the Separatists. This neglect created a deep, festering resentment in the Outer Rim. The humans and aliens of these worlds began to view the Republic not as a protector, but as a parasite that took their taxes and gave nothing back. This resentment is the fuel for the fire to come. We do not need to invent a rebellion. We merely need to hand a blaster to a man whose family starved while Coruscant feasted. They will tear the Republic apart for us. Book 34, The Senate, the Theater of the Absurd. Bureaucracy as a weapon. A dictatorship is efficient. A democracy is slow. A corrupted democracy is paralyzed. We have turned the Senate into a circus. There are thousands of senators, each with their own agenda, each shouting to be heard. We introduced procedural loops, filibusters, and endless subcommittees. To pass a simple law takes years. By the time the Republic decides to act, the crisis has already happened. The people have lost faith in the institution. They see the Senate as a place where old beings argue while the galaxy burns. 2. The auction block. Every senator has a price. Some want credits, some want power, some want to hide a scandal. We own them. We do not own all of them. That would be suspicious. We own the ones that matter. The heads of the Appropriations Committee, the Oversight Boards. Through them, we steer the massive ship of state directly into the rocks, and they thank us for the privilege. Book 35, The Jedi Order, the Dogs of the State. The loss of independence. The Jedi were once independent servants of the Force. Now they are the judicial branch of the Senate. They answer to the Chancellor. If the Chancellor is corrupt, the Jedi become agents of corruption. They are sent to put down illegal strikes by workers who are merely asking for food. They are sent to protect the assets of the banking clan. The common people no longer look at Jedi with awe. They look at them with fear. They see them as the enforcers of the elite. We have successfully severed the Jedi from the people they are sworn to protect. 2. The clouded vision. Because the Jedi are so entangled in politics, their vision of the Force is clouded. They sense the darkness growing, but they mistake it for political unrest. They think the problem is a rogue senator or a greedy trade baron. They do not see the Sith Lord standing in the shadow of the podium. They are looking at the puppet, not the puppeteer. Book 36, The Prelude, The 0 Hour. The Crisis Point. The tension has reached critical mass. The guilds are too greedy. The Outer Rim is too angry. The Senate is too weak. The galaxy is a room filled with gas. All it takes is a single spark. We will provide that spark. A blockade of a peaceful world. An assassination of a beloved figure. It does not matter what the event is. The structure is so rotten that any kick will bring it down. 2. The demand for strong leadership. When the collapse begins, the people will panic. The Jedi will be overwhelmed. The Senate will bicker. And then a voice will rise. A strong voice. A voice that promises security. a voice that promises to cut through the bureaucracy and act. The people will cheer for this voice. They will applaud as it dismantles the democracy that failed them. They will welcome the Empire, not as conquerors, but as liberators from the chaos of their own making. The trap is set. The prey is already inside. We need only close the door. End of Volume 6. Archival note: encryption key Sidious detected in subroutine. Access denied. Jedi Archive restricted access. Level 10. Catalog ID 88-B-Descendant, Volume 7. Artifact: The Rule of Two, Volume 7, The Jedi Contradiction. Origin: transcript of a debate found in the personal journals of the Lost 20. Attributed to Darth Redacted, Philosopher of the Dark. Archivist note: Volume 7 is an ideological hazard. It does not teach combat, but rather seeks to break the faith of the reader. It presents a line-by-line refutation of the Jedi Code, framing Jedi philosophy not as good, but as a violation of the natural laws of existence. Preface: The Architecture of Denial. The Jedi Code is not a philosophy, it is a cage. It is a series of restrictions designed to frighten children into obedience. It denies the very things that make a being alive: feeling, wanting, striving. To follow the Jedi Code is to commit spiritual suicide. It is to look at the vibrant, violent, chaotic universe and say, no. The Sith Code is yes. It is an affirmation of reality. Book 37, The First Lie. There is no emotion, there is peace. 1. The Denial of Life. There is no emotion, a statement of profound absurdity. To exist is to feel. The fear of the prey, the hunger of the predator, the love of the mother, the rage of the warrior. These are the engines of the galaxy. Without emotion, there is no motivation. Why does a Jedi save a life if he feels no compassion? Why does he stop a war if he feels no horror? He acts out of rote obedience. He becomes a droid made of flesh. 2. The stagnation of peace. There is peace. Peace is a lie. Look at nature. Is the wolf at peace with the deer? Is the storm at peace with the mountain? No. The universe is in a state of constant, violent flux. Galaxies collide, stars explode. Life eats life. Peace is a temporary delusion, usually enforced by the sword. To seek eternal peace is to seek death, for the only thing that is truly peaceful is the grave. The Sith accepts that conflict is the natural state of existence. We do not hide from the storm, we ride it. Book 38, The Second Lie. There is no ignorance, there is knowledge. I, the restricted archive. The Jedi claim to value knowledge, yet they lock half of the Force away in the restricted section. They study the light, but ignore the dark. They study the shield, but ignore the sword. How can you claim to understand the universe when you refuse to look at its shadow? A Jedi's knowledge is incomplete. It is sanitized. They teach only what is safe. A Sith seeks all knowledge. We study the poisons as well as the cures. We study the demons as well as the gods. We are not afraid of the truth, no matter how terrible it is. 2. The blindness of dogma. Ignorance is not just a lack of facts, it is the refusal to see. The Jedi are ignorant of their own hypocrisy. They preach non-attachment, yet they cling to the Republic. They preach mercy, yet they carry weapons of plasma. They are blinded by their own dogma, unable to see that they have become the very thing they claim to fight, soldiers of a corrupt system. Book 39, The Third Lie. There is no passion, there is serenity. I, the fire versus the stone. Passion is the fire that drives evolution. It is the desire to be better, stronger, faster. It is the refusal to accept mediocrity. Serenity is the state of a stone. A stone is serene. It does not move. It does not change. It sits and waits for the wind to erode it. The Jedi strive to be stones. The Sith strive to be fire. Fire burns, yes. It destroys. But it also creates energy. It clears the dead wood to make room for new growth. A civilization without passion is a civilization in decline. 2. The power of love and hate. The Jedi lump love and hate together as dangerous. They are fools. Love gives you something to fight for. Hate gives you the strength to destroy the obstacle in your way. Both are tools. By suppressing them, the Jedi cut themselves off from the deepest reservoirs of the Force. A Sith channeling pure rage is a conduit of power a Jedi cannot comprehend. We feel more deeply, and therefore we are more powerful. Book XL, The Fourth Lie. There is no chaos, there is harmony. 1. The illusion of order. Harmony is a construct. It is the imposition of an artificial order upon a chaotic reality. The Jedi try to force the galaxy into a shape that pleases them. They mediate disputes, they draw borders, they write laws. They try to garden a jungle, but the jungle always grows back. Chaos is the engine of change. Without chaos, there is no innovation. Without the collapse of the old, the new cannot rise. 2. the agents of entropy. The Sith are the agents of necessary chaos. We kick down the rotting structures so that stronger ones can be built. We understand that you cannot have a forest without a wildfire. You cannot have a strong society without a war to test it. The Jedi try to stop the wildfire. They only ensure that when it finally comes, it will consume everything. Book XLI, The Final Lie. There is no death, there is the Force. 1. The acceptance of defeat. This is the ultimate surrender. When a Jedi dies, they let go. They allow their consciousness to dissolve into the cosmic soup of the Force. They lose their name, their memories, their self. They call it transcendence. It is annihilation. 2. The will to remain. The Sith refuses to go quietly into the night. We value the I. I am, I want, I will. Why spend a lifetime accumulating power and wisdom only to throw it away at the moment of death? We fight for immortality. We fight to retain our identity. To die is to lose the game. We intend to win. Book XL42, The Synthesis. The Sith Code. I, the truth, contrast their lies with our truth. Peace is a lie. There is only passion. We accept reality as it is, a struggle. Through passion, I gain strength. We use our emotions as fuel. Through strength, I gain power. We convert that fuel into tangible agency. Through power, I gain victory. We achieve our goals. Through victory, my chains are broken. We achieve the ultimate goal, freedom. The Force shall free me. 2. The broken chains. The Jedi are chained by their code. They are slaves to the Council, slaves to the Senate, slaves to the will of the Force. The Sith is free. We serve no one but ourselves. We do not ask the Force for permission. We command it. We break the chains of morality, of expectation, of mortality itself. The Jedi serve the Force. The Sith are the Force. End of Volume 7. Archival Note. Morale suppression field activated. Do not read further. Jedi Archive. Restricted access. Level 10. Catalog ID 88-DSC-Vol 8. Artifact. The Rule of Two. Volume 8. The Lost Lords. Origin. Fragmented data, crystalline structure, recovered from the asteroid field of Roche. Attributed to Darth Redacted, Keeper of the Dead. Archivist Note: Volume 8 chronicles the lives of Sith Lords who do not appear in standard Jedi histories. These figures operated in total secrecy. Their existence proves that the 1,000 years of peace was, in fact, 1,000 years of silent preparation. Preface: The Hollow of Fame. The Jedi seek to be remembered. They build statues in their temple. They record their deeds in the great HOLOCRON. They want their names to be spoken with reverence by future generations. The Sith cares nothing for fame. Fame is a liability. Fame is a target painted on your back. The greatest Sith Lords are those whose names were never whispered, even in the shadows. They lived, they conquered, and they died in silence, content in the knowledge that they had pushed the grand plan 1 centimeter closer to the edge. This volume honors the ghosts. Book XL-33, The Administrator, Darth Vectivus. 1. The Heresy of Contentment. Darth Vectivus is an anomaly in our history. He was not a warrior. He was not a conqueror. He was the director of a mining operation on an asteroid near Bimial. He is the only Sith Lord to die of old age, surrounded by friends and family who knew nothing of his true nature. To the ignorant, he seems weak, but Vectivus proved a crucial theorem. The dark side does not require madness. He wielded the Force like a ledger. He accumulated power through commerce, through shrewd negotiation, through the cold application of logic. 2. The Phantom Network. Vectivus did not destroy the Republic. He bought it. He established the network of shell corporations and blind trusts that would fund the Order for centuries. He taught us that a contract can be more binding than a chain. He taught us that if you control the supply of Tibanna gas, you do not need to fire a blaster. You simply turn off the enemy's heat. He was the architect of our economic dominance. Book XL, The Scientist, Darth Ramage. I, The Physics of Hate. Darth Ramage was a scholar of the impossible. While others studied the Force, he studied the fabric of reality itself. He believed that the Force was merely a variable in a larger equation of time and space. He conducted experiments on the nature of time dilation within the core. He sought to create time locks, pockets of reality where a Sith could train for a decade in the span of a single day. 2. The Malachor experiments. His research was dangerous. He nearly unmade himself on Malachor V, attempting to harness the gravity of the mass shadow generator. Though he failed to master time, his failures birthed the technology of the interdictor cruisers. The gravity well projectors that pull ships from hyperspace are based on Ramage's notes. Even in failure, the Sith advance the cause of war. Book XV, The Savior, Darth Bane. I, the price of loyalty. We have spoken of the traitor Gravid. Now we speak of the one who stopped him. Darth Bane was an apprentice when her master went mad. She was not ready to ascend. She had not completed her training. Yet, when Gravid began to burn the lore, she did not hesitate. She fought him with bare hands and a half-constructed lightsaber. She took a blade through the chest and still drove her thumbs into his eyes. 2. The Broken Link. Bane spent the rest of her life in an envirosuit, her body shattered by the battle. She had to relearn the ways of the Sith from scraps. She is the reason we exist. She represents the ultimate resilience of the lineage. She taught us that the rule of two is not just about power. It is about stewardship. We are the custodians of a flame that must never go out. Book X6, The Hedonist, Darth Guile. I, the Poisoned Cup. Dark but natural, deep manifesto-like tone. Dark and subtly evil, like an ancient Sith Lord from Star Wars. Uncaring, like this is a waste of time. Darth Guile was a creature of the Senate. He was handsome, charismatic, and utterly depraved. He did not hide in caves. He lived in the highest spires of Coruscant. His weapon was blackmail. He hosted the most lavish parties in the Corps, attended by senators, admirals, and Jedi. He recorded everything. Every illicit affair, every bribe, every moment of weakness. 2. The Spider's Web. Guile did not use the Force to control the Senate. He used shame. He owned the secrets of half the galaxy. He taught the lineage that everyone has a vice. If you can find a man's vice, you own his soul. He turned the Republic's morality against itself, proving that the virtuous leaders of the galaxy were nothing but hypocrites waiting for permission to sin. Book XL7, The Designer, Darth Tenebris. I, the Bith Intellect. Darth Tenebris possessed a mind that operated on a plane beyond most organic beings. He saw the galaxy as a complex machine. He calculated the grand plan down to the decimal point. He predicted the rise of the Chosen One, the fall of the corporations, and the inevitability of the Clone Wars, not through prophecy, but through statistical analysis. 2. The Maxichlorians. Tenebris sought to engineer the Force itself. He identified the Maxichlorians, the hypothetical consciousness of the Force. He sought to infect the Force with a virus of his own design, to prevent the Jedi from sensing the growing darkness. Though he was eventually outmaneuvered by his apprentice, as is the way, his designs laid the blueprint for the final victory. He built the ship. His successor merely took the helm. Book XL 48, The Nameless, The Interstitial Lords. The gaps in history. There are gaps in the timeline, periods of 50 or 60 years where the Jedi record shows nothing. No dark side incidents, no mystery attackers. These are the reigns of the Nameless, the lords who did absolutely nothing but train. 2. The discipline of silence. To have the power of a god and do nothing is the hardest test of all. These lords spent their entire lives perfecting a single technique, or hoarding credits, or simply waiting. They sacrificed the satisfaction of action for the purity of the plan. They are the mortar between the bricks. Without them, the wall would have crumbled. They prove that patience is the sharpest blade of all. End of Volume 8. Archival note. Data corruption eating remaining sectors. Recovering Volume 9. Jedi Archive Restricted Access. Level 10 Catalog ID 88-Descendant Volume 9. Artifact The Rule of Two, Volume 9, The Architecture of Fear. Origin, recovered from a derelict automated dreadnought adrift in the unknown regions. Attributed to Darth, Grand Admiral of the Sith. Archivist note. Volume 9 details the Tarkin Doctrine centuries before Tarkin was born. It outlines the transition from a hidden order to a galactic empire ruled by the threat of overwhelming force. It contains theoretical schematics for planetary-scale weaponry. Preface: The Calculus of Obedience. Why do beings obey laws? Is it out of respect? Is it out of love? No. These are fragile motivations. They shatter under pressure. The only universal motivator is fear. Fear is the oldest emotion. It is hardwired into the brainstem of every sentient creature in the galaxy. To rule the galaxy, the Sith must become the architect of its nightmares. We must build a structure of terror so imposing that the mere thought of rebellion causes the spirit to break. Book XL, The Doctrine of the Threat. Rule by Fear. 1. The Economy of Violence. It is inefficient to kill everyone who opposes you. It wastes ammunition. It wastes labor. True power is not the act of destruction. It is the threat of destruction. If you destroy a city, you have a pile of rubble. If you threaten to destroy a city and the people believe you, You have a city of slaves who will work twice as hard to keep you happy. 2. The visibility of power. For 1,000 years we have hidden, but when the time comes to rule, we must be visible. Our power must be undeniable. We must build ships that block out the sun. We must build stations that look like moons. The galaxy must look up at the sky and feel small. The architecture of the Empire must scream dominance. A Star Destroyer is not just a warship. It is a psychological weapon designed to crush hope before a single turbolaser is fired. Book L, The Planet Killers, Superweapon Theory. 1. The Ultimate Silence. The lightsaber is a duelist's weapon. It kills one man. The Sith require weapons that kill worlds. The ancient Sith built the mass shadow generator. Bane used the thought bomb. These were crude, but the intent was pure. To silence 1 billion voices in a single instant. We must perfect this technology. We must build a weapon that can crack a planetary crust as easily as an egg. This is not for war. It is for order. If a planet rebels, it is not conquered. It is removed. The example will keep 1,000 other systems in line. 2. The Kyber amplification. The Jedi use Kyber crystals for their little swords. They do not understand the crystal's true potential. A giant Kyber crystal, properly stimulated, produces energy output comparable to a star. If we can harness this energy, if we can bleed a crystal the size of a building, we can create a laser that ignores shields, ignores armor, and ignores hope. Book Li, The Plague of the Mind, Biological Terror. 1. The Targeted Culling. Blasters are messy. Viruses are clean. Our alchemists have been working on pathogens that target specific genetic markers. A virus that kills only Wookiees. A plague that affects only those with high midichlorian counts. This is the silent knife. We can purge a species or a political faction without ever landing a trooper. We can hold an entire planet hostage with a vial of blue liquid. 2. The fear of the invisible. The psychological impact of a plague is far greater than an invasion. You can shoot a stormtrooper. You cannot shoot a fever. By releasing a limited plague and then withholding the cure, we position ourselves as the masters of life and death. The population will not fight us. They will beg us to save them, and we will, for a price. Book Li, The Symbolism of the Mask, Dehumanization. 1. The Face of the State. A leader must not be a man, Men are fallible. Men age. Men have eyes that show doubt. The Sith Lord must be an icon. We wear armor not just for protection, but for erasure. When you put on the mask, you cease to be a person. You become the state. You become the law. 2. The Faceless Legion. This principle applies to our armies. The clone troopers and the stormtroopers that will follow must be faceless. White armor, black lenses, identical. When a citizen looks at a stormtrooper, they should not see a soldier. They should see a machine. Machines do not feel pity. Machines cannot be bargained with. This dehumanization creates a psychological distance that makes the army terrifyingly effective. Book 33, The Unseen Enemy, Psychological Operations. 1. The Paranoia State. To prevent rebellion, you must destroy trust. We must create a society where everyone is a spy. The child informs on the parent. The neighbor watches the neighbor. We will establish bureaus of loyalty that reward citizens for reporting sedition. When a man is afraid that his own wife is listening to his whispers, he will not rebel. He will not organize. He will stay silent. 2. Gaslighting the galaxy. We will control the news. We will control the entertainment. We will create a reality where the Empire is the only source of truth. If a massacre occurs, we will report it as a mining accident. If a hero rises, we will paint him as a terrorist. If you repeat a lie often enough and silence anyone who contradicts it, it becomes the truth. Book 54, The Final Sanction, Base Delta Zero. 1. The Glassing. There is a point where a population is too corrupted by freedom to be saved. In these cases, we do not occupy. We sterilize. Base Delta Zero. The naval code for the complete orbital bombardment of a planetary surface. We melt the ice caps. We burn the atmosphere. We turn the surface into molten glass. 2. The Peace of the Graveyard. This is the ultimate expression of the rule of two applied to a population. If the apprentice, the subject, cannot serve the master, the empire, the apprentice is destroyed. We do not do this lightly, but we must be willing to do it. The galaxy must know that our mercy is conditional, but our wrath is absolute. Better to rule a galaxy of graveyards than a galaxy of chaotic dissent. End of Volume 9. Archival note. Only one file remains. Decrypting Volume X. Jedi Archive, restricted access. Level 10, Catalog ID, B. Descendant, Volume 10. Artifact, The Rule of Two, Volume X, The Final Order. Origin, The Emperor's Private Vault, The Citadel, Exegol. Attributed to Darth Sidious, The Culmination. Archivist note, Volume X is the terminus. It is not a teaching manual. It is a declaration of victory. It outlines the final order, a theoretical state where the rule of two is abolished in favor of a singular, eternal Sith rule. The arrogance within this text is absolute. Preface: the end of the cycle. For 1,000 years, we have been two, master and apprentice. One to embody power, one to crave it. This was a necessary constraint. It was the cocoon that protected the Sith while we metamorphosed. It kept us sharp, it kept us hidden. But a cocoon is not a permanent home. Eventually, the moth must emerge. When the Jedi are dead, when the Republic is ash, when the galaxy bows before the throne, the rule of two will have served its purpose. There will be no more succession. There will be no more death. There will only the one. Book LV, The Abolition of Succession, The Rule of One. 1. The Flaw of Mortality. The rule of two is based on the assumption that the master will eventually falter. It assumes that age or weakness will necessitate replacement. But what if the master does not falter? What if the master conquers death itself? If the master is eternal, the apprentice is redundant. The apprentice becomes merely an extension of the master's will, a hand, not an heir. In the final order, there is no lineage. There is only the Emperor. 2. The Singular Vision. A galaxy ruled by a committee is weak. A galaxy ruled by a dynasty is unstable. A galaxy ruled by an immortal being is perfect. With eternal life comes eternal planning. I do not need to rush to complete my work before I die. I can think in terms of geologic eras. I can shape the evolution of species. I can rewrite the laws of physics. The galaxy becomes my sculpture, and I have all of eternity to perfect it. Book 56, The Theocracy of the Dark, Religion of State. 1. The Force as Law. Under the Republic, the Force was a religion for a few thousand monks. Under the Final Order, the Force is the law. We will not hide the dark side. We will build temples to it on every world. We will teach the galaxy that strength is the only virtue, and mercy is a sin. We will rewrite the moral code of civilization. Children will not be taught to share. They will be taught to compete. The weak will not be protected. They will be culled. We will breed a galaxy of predators. 2. The cult of the Emperor. I shall not be a political leader. I shall be a god. The people will not obey me because of taxes or laws. They will obey me because they believe I control the suns. They will believe that to disobey me is to invite cosmic annihilation. My face will be the face of the dark side. My voice will be the voice of doom. Book 57, The Reshaping of Reality, Planetary Alchemy. 1. Corrupting the Stars. Why stop at corrupting a government? We shall corrupt the stars themselves. Using the full power of the dark side, amplified by the dyad or the rituals of Exegol, we will darken the suns of rebellious systems. We will warp the hyperspace lanes to isolate our enemies. The galaxy itself will become hostile to those who oppose us. The very air they breathe will taste of despair. 2. The Sith Eternal. We have gathered the loyalists on Exegol. They are not soldiers. They are devotees. They build my fleets not for pay, but for worship. This is the future. A population that does not serve out of fear of pain, but out of religious ecstasy. They love the boot that crushes them. They thank the whip. Book 58, The Dyad, the power of two made one. 1. The myth made flesh. The rule of two was an imitation of a greater truth, the dyad in the Force. Two individuals connected across space and time, sharing a single soul. It is the power of life itself. It is the power to heal, to resurrect, to create. The Jedi fear it. We will harness it. If I can consume the power of a dyad, I will restore my flesh. I will become the living embodiment of the Force. I will be all the Sith. 2. The final convergence. When this power is achieved, the fleet will launch. 10,000 planet killers, a legion of Sith troopers. We will not conquer the galaxy system by system. We will strike everywhere at once. In a single day, the free galaxy will cease to exist. Every world will look up and see the shadow of the final order. Book 59, The Final Victory, Totality. 1. The Silence of the Light. The Jedi will be a memory, a myth whispered by fools. We will hunt down the last Force sensitives and give them a choice: serve or die. The light side will not be destroyed. That is impossible. But it will be enslaved. It will exist only as a shadow to cast the darkness into sharper relief. 2. The eternal night. There will be no sunrise. The galaxy will exist in a twilight of my making. Order, security, silence. This is what Bane envisioned when he created the Rule of Two. Not a squabble for power, but a path to the absolute. He planted the seed. I am the harvest. Epilogue to the reader. If you are reading this, and you are not me, then I have failed. But I do not fail. Therefore, you are either a phantom of my own mind, or you are about to die. The archives are closed. The lesson is finished. Unlimited power. End of transcription. System failure. Archive. Self-destruct initiated. 5, 4, 3.
Identity verification, Dorak, Master of the Jedi Council, Keeper of the Dantooine Archives, timestamp 3951 BBY. Condition critical. If you are accessing this record, then the Enclave has fallen. The Sith Triumvirate, the assassins in the dark, they have finally come for the last of us. For decades, I have sat amongst these shelves, cataloging the history of the Republic. I have watched Padawans become knights, and knights become corpses. And now, the High Council on Coruscant has requested one final entry. They want the Revan incident closed. They want a summary, a fable. They wish to frame the narrative, a fallen hero, a redeemed savior, a closed loop, a sanitized story to teach younglings about the dangers of pride. But history is not a loop. It is a jagged line drawn in blood. The Council wishes to erase the nuances. They wish to ignore the woman who walked beside him, General Mitra Surik. They wish to ignore the failures of our own inaction. I record this distinct chronicle not for the Council, but for those who come after. You must understand that the Force is not merely light and dark. It is a spectrum. And Revan was the prism through which we finally saw the terrible gray truth. To know Revan, you must first know the fire that forged him, the Mandalorians. For centuries, they were a scattered people, mercenaries, bounty hunters. But Mandalore the Ultimate changed that. He did not want credits, he wanted a legacy. He united the clans under a single Neo-Crusader banner. They were not merely conquering worlds, they were testing the galaxy's resolve. They burned the Outer Rim, world by world, waiting for the Republic to stand up, waiting for the Jedi to ignite their sabers. And we did nothing. I was there in the chamber when the plea came from the Senate. Master Rook argued, correctly, technically, that the Jedi serve the Force, not the Republic government. He sensed a darker threat behind the Mandalorians, a shadow in the unknown regions. He insisted that if we committed the Order to this war, we would leave the galaxy vulnerable to the true enemy.
The Jedi sit in their tower and speak of balance? Tell that to the people of Sirocco. The Mandalorians didn't just bomb the military bases. They nuked the population centers. The Stereb cities are glass. I hold here a report from Admiral Karath. He has lost 3 fleets in 2 weeks. He isn't asking for Jedi wisdom, Master Vrook. He is asking for Jedi swords. If the Order does not intervene, there will be no Republic left to protect. You speak of the dark side clouding your vision. Look out the window. The smoke from the Outer Rim is visible from here.
We dismissed Corden as a warmonger. We told ourselves that he was a politician, concerned only with borders and trade routes, while we were concerned with the balance of the cosmos. It is a comforting lie, isn't it, to believe that inaction is a form of purity? But listen to his voice again. That is not greed, that is terror. The Republic looked to us as guardians, not just of the Force, but of them. When we refused to fight, we did not preserve the peace. We merely outsourced the violence to those ill-equipped to handle it. We forced the Republic fleet to die in our place, and in that vacuum of leadership, we practically begged for a man like Revan to step forward. We created the need for him. The turning point was Cathar, a world of warrior poets. The Mandalorians did not invade Cathar to hold territory. They invaded it to send a message. Cassius Fett, the Mandalorian strategist, herded the population into the sea. He wanted to provoke the Jedi. He wanted to know if we still had teeth. Millions died in a single rotation. And when the news reached Coruscant, the High Council issued a statement condemning the violence and urging the Republic to find a diplomatic solution. A diplomatic solution to genocide. That was the day Revan stopped being a Padawan. He was a knight then, charismatic, brilliant, perhaps too eager. But he possessed a quality the Masters lacked: empathy. He felt the death of the Cathar not as a disturbance in the Force, but as a scream.
I have read the texts. Master Odin writes that a Jedi must not act out of emotion. But what is justice if not the emotional response to injustice? The Mandalorians do not fear the Republic. They do not fear the Senate. They fear us. But they fear us only if we are willing to be fearful.
The Council believes that by fighting, we fall. I submit that by not fighting, we have already fallen. To watch a genocide and do nothing is to be an accomplice. If the code forbids saving the innocent, then the code is wrong.
It is a seductive argument. Justice. We all desire justice. To hear a knight speak so passionately about saving lives, it stirs the blood. Even now, 40 years later, part of me wants to ignite my lightsaber and follow him. But this is the trap Revan did not see. The Jedi Code forbids emotion, not because emotion is evil, but because emotion is a lens that distorts reality. Revan claimed he was fighting for the innocent, but soon he was fighting for victory, then for security, then for order. He began to speak, quietly at first, then with the force of a gravity well. He called himself the Revanchist, a name taken from a promise to take back what was lost. Malak was the first to join him, Alak as he was known then, Revan's shadow. And there was another, Mitra Surik. The Council has tried to erase her from this history, but I will not allow it. She was not a firebrand like Revan. She was a healer, a stabilizer. She joined the Revanchists not because she loved war, but because she could not stand to watch the suffering. Revan led the movement. Surik bound it together. The arrival of the Jedi changed the war instantly. The Mandalorians, who had been slaughtering Republic conscripts, suddenly found themselves facing warriors who could predict their movements. Revan did not just fight, he commanded. He took control of a third of the Republic fleet. And this is where the tragedy truly begins. The dark side is not a cliff you jump off. It is a slope you slide down. Every compromised victory greased the path. Malak felt the thrill of dominance. Surik felt the pain of the sacrifices, but she trusted Revan. She trusted that the end justified the means. They pushed the Mandalorians back, from Taris to Duxon, but with every victory, they shed a piece of their Jedi teachings. To defeat the Mandalorians, Revan realized he could not fight like a Jedi. The Jedi Code demands defense. It demands restraint. But the Mandalorians viewed restraint as weakness. So Revan mirrored them. He began to sacrifice troops to secure strategic objectives. He abandoned worlds to save sectors. He became cold. It ended at Malachor V. Revan had cornered the Mandalorian clans. But Revan was not planning a battle. He was planning an execution. Revan had commissioned a weapon, the mass shadow generator. He placed his own fleet, ships filled with Jedi and soldiers who questioned his methods, closest to the planet. He used his own people as bait to draw the Mandalorians in.
General Revan, the Mandalorian fleet is closing in on Sector 4.
taken the bait. But sir, the Fifth Fleet is still in the kill zone. Those are our men. We need time to evacuate.
Negative, Commander. Hold position. If the Fifth Fleet retreats, Mandalore will sense the trap. They must remain engaged.
Sir, if you activate the generator now, you'll wipe out our own ships. You're talking about sacrificing 10,000 Republic soldiers.
I am talking about ending a war that has killed billions. Hold the line, Commander. That is an order.
Did you hear the tone of his voice? That is what keeps me awake at night. Not the anger, not the hate, but the calm. By the end of the war, Revan had ceased to be a Jedi. He had become a calculator. He looked at the Fifth Fleet, 10,000 living, breathing souls, and he saw them only as ammunition. This is the ultimate danger of the utilitarian path. The crust of Malachor V fractured. The death scream was so loud in the Force that it killed Jedi Masters light years away. And Surik, poor Mitra Surik, she was at the epicenter. To survive the psychic shock, she did the only thing she could. She instinctively severed her own connection to the Force. She blinded herself to the universe to stop the pain. Revan descended to the surface. He found Mandalore the Ultimate, broken and dying. He took the mask of the Mandalore, the symbol of their people, and he claimed it. But he did not stop there. Malachor V was an ancient Sith world. Revan had found what Vrook had feared. He found the teachings of the true Sith. He realized that the Republic was too weak to survive what was coming from the unknown regions. He decided that to save the galaxy, he had to conquer it. He had to forge it into a weapon. They vanished into the unknown regions, claiming to hunt the remnants of the Mandalorians. The revanchist died on Malachor. Darth Revan was born from the ashes. Identity verification. Dorak, Master of the Jedi Council, Keeper of the Dantooine Archives. Timestamp 3951 BBY. Condition critical. The previous record, entry 001, chronicled the moral collapse at Malachor V. The Council, consumed by the illusion of victory, believed the greatest threat was dead. They celebrated the end of a war, but they failed to see the forging of a weapon. I continue this record today, not from fear, but from the duty to document the contagion. The hero we mourned has returned as the enemy we created. This entry must expose the true architect of the conflict, the Rakatan Infinite Empire. We must understand the dark science Revan used to conquer our worlds. For only by knowing the genesis of the wound can we hope to excise the infection.
We left the tragedy at Malachor V. The echo of its collapse is still heard in the deep layers of the Force. The Jedi Masters who authorized the final move against the Mandalorians are all gone, but the stain of that decision, the tactical sacrifice of countless Republic lives, it remains. It was the moment that the heroic General Revan, the charismatic warrior, died. But history is not interested in endings. It is interested in consequences.
The Jedi Order, relieved of the immediate military threat, convinced itself the crisis was over. The movement Revan started did not return to the fold. Convinced by his logic, they disappeared with him into the unknown regions, seeking the true Sith threat. Only one Jedi returned to face the Council, Mitra Surik. For abandoning the Jedi Code and daring to fight when her masters would not, she was met not with commendation, but with judgment. The Republic cheered, they held parades, they thought peace was secured. They were wrong. The irony is a bitter pill for the archivists. By refusing to fight evil, the Council inadvertently commissioned a greater evil. They forced a light side knight to become a dark side crusader. The moment Revan accepted that 1 billion lives were a justifiable price for a single victory, he unlocked the potential for any atrocity. He didn't just win the Mandalorian Wars, he learned the methodology of total war. And that education, that philosophical wound, was what he carried with him as he vanished. The war was over, but the crusade was not. Revan and Malak did not return to Coruscant. They sent a message to the Council, a cryptic transmission claiming they were hunting the last of the Mandalorian warlords into the unknown regions. It was a lie. Revan was not hunting Mandalorians. He was hunting a ghost. He was hunting what the Jedi Order feared most, not to destroy it, but to master it. During the war, Revan had found fragments of data, references to an infinite empire that ruled the galaxy before the Republic was born. The Rakata, a species of cruel genius who enslaved the Force itself. Revan found their first relic here on Dantooine, a star map. The map was incomplete. To find the source, Revan had to visit worlds touched by the dark side. Tatooine, Kashyyyk, Manaan, Korriban. On each world, he unlocked a piece of the puzzle, and with each piece, the dark side grew stronger in him. It was not a sudden fall. It was a slow suffocation.
He was breathing in the history of the Sith with every artifact he touched.
We found something in the Dune Sea today. The crate dragon we killed was nesting on top of it. Some kind of ancient computer terminal. It ain't Rakatan tech like we usually find. This feels older. The strange thing is, when we touched it, the droids went haywire, started reciting math equations in a language the protocol droids couldn't translate. And the sand around the artifact is turned to black glass. I'm sealing the site. Revan, or whoever that cloaked guy was, paid us double to forget we ever saw it. Fine by me. That thing feels like it's watching us.
The Rakata did not merely build technology, they stained the fabric of reality. This excavation log proves it. The star map was not just a computer, it was a wound in the Force. On every world, Revan bathed in the residual energy of the Infinite Empire. He was unlocking the secrets of the Star Forge, but he was also unlocking the darkest parts of his own psyche. He did not fall to the dark side in a single moment of weakness. He was irradiated by it, slowly, systematically, until the light within him simply sickened and died.
We must pause to understand the nature of the Rakata's power. They did not utilize the Force, they engineered it. The very concept is anathema to the Jedi Code. They were the first to treat the Force not as a living field, but as a malleable energy source. The star maps were not cartography, they were schematics, a sequence of massive Force-aligned conduits laid across the galaxy to channel the collective suffering of thousands of enslaved species. The Star Forge was simply the endpoint of this galactic-scale siphon. The structures Revan found on Tatooine and Kashyyyk were essentially batteries. When he touched them, he was not retrieving data, he was absorbing residual dark side kinetic energy left over from millennia of Rakatan cruelty. His brilliance allowed him to understand the geometry of this evil, but his psyche was being flooded with the spiritual residue of 20,000 years of slavery. That is the cost of his discovery.
And then they found it, the Star Forge. Words fail to describe the scale of it. It was a factory, a shipyard, and a temple, all in one. Built by the Rakata to conquer the stars, and powered by the dark side of the Force. The Star Forge was not merely a machine. It was alive. The Republic shipyards at Corellia take months to build a cruiser. The Star Forge could print a fleet in weeks. But the machine had a price. It fed on the aggressive passions of those who used it. It hungered. To maximize its output, Revan had to feed it his own passion, his own fury.
The Star Forge did not just build ships, it consumed the soul of its master. Revan thought he could master it. He believed he could use this weapon to unite the galaxy against the true Sith Empire hiding in the dark. It is the oldest tragedy in the galaxy, the belief that one can touch the darkness without being stained by it. When Revan returned to Republic space, he did not come as a raider, he came as a ruler. This is the distinction the Council often ignores. Revan's war was surgical. He targeted military installations. He assassinated unstable leaders. He left the infrastructure intact. He wanted a functioning galaxy to rule. He captured planets rather than destroying them. He recruited Jedi rather than killing them. He established academies. Revan was building a state, a militarized autocracy designed to withstand a galactic invasion. And it was working.
The Republic threatens sanctions. Lord Revan offers protection. The Empire agrees to respect Manon's neutrality, provided the Kolto exports to the Sith fleet are increased by 40%. In exchange, the Sith Empire will remove the Republic blockades on our grain imports. We find these Sith terms to be equitable. They do not preach to us about morality. They simply trade. If the Republic cannot match these terms, Manon will close its ports. We are neutral, High Council. We are not suicidal.
This log is crucial for understanding the Sith Empire Revan built. Malak would have simply bombed Manan from orbit, but Revan negotiated. He offered the Selkath a better deal than the Republic could. He offered stability. He proved that the dark side could be efficient. For many worlds, weary of the Republic's bureaucracy and corruption, Revan's empire didn't look like an occupation. It looked like a solution. The most terrifying element of this history is that Revan may have been correct. The Jedi Council dismissed the shadow because they feared the dark side. Revan embraced it because he saw the source of the fear. What he glimpsed in the unknown regions, the ultimate threat, was not another Sith Lord seeking a title. It was a true Sith Empire, ancient and vast, capable of wiping the Republic from the map in a single campaign. Revan did not create a Sith Empire for himself. He was building a military bulwark, a hardened, brutal shield that could take a blow. He knew our Republic, built on bureaucracy and endless debate, would shatter instantly. He became the villain the galaxy could fight, so that the galaxy could live to fight the true villains later. This does not absolve him of his crimes, but it transforms them. It changes him from a typical fallen knight into a pragmatist of unspeakable cruelty, willing to sacrifice his soul to save our bodies. And that, more than any act of Sith magic, is a truly terrifying proposition. The Council, desperate and losing the war, authorized a strike team. Their mission was not to kill Revan, but to capture him, to sever the head of the snake. They were led by Bastila Shan, a prodigy of battle meditation. They boarded Revan's flagship. They fought their way to the bridge. Revan would have killed them all. He was the greatest duelist of his age. But he was fighting two battles, one against the Jedi and one against his apprentice. The tragedy is that the Forge recognized Malak before it consumed Revan. The Star Forge, being alive and feeding on passion, saw Revan's actions as disciplined. He was motivated by pragmatism and a grand, chilling strategy. The Forge was getting sustained income, but not the feast it truly craved. Malak, however, was pure, unchecked ego. He had always been Revan's shadow, defined by his desire to exceed his master. Malak did not care for strategy. He did not care for the true Sith. He saw only power. He saw Revan's restraint as weakness. The seed of betrayal was watered by the Star Forge, which whispered to Malak that he was the stronger vessel. To the Star Forge, Malak represented exponential growth. His jealousy, his thirst for simple, raw power. This was the emotional turbulence the Forge needed to maximize its output. Every ship it printed for Revan was fueled by a promise whispered to Malak. Your master is holding you back. He is not strong enough to rule. You are the rightful king. The Forge didn't just corrupt him, it played him like an instrument, turning a loyal apprentice into a desperate usurper. Malak saw his chance. He ordered his fleet to fire on Revan's position. He sought to kill his master and the Jedi in one stroke. The bridge was incinerated. Revan fell. Malak believed he had won. He took the mantle of Dark Lord, but he made a mistake. He assumed Revan was dead. He did not know that Bastila Shan had preserved a spark of life within the fallen Lord, and in doing so, she had forged a bond that would change the fate of the galaxy. And so, the greatest mind the Jedi Order had ever produced, the hero who defied our council, saved the Republic, and then returned to conquer it, was extinguished in a flash of betrayal. Revan fell not by the hands of his enemies, but by the ambition he cultivated in his own shadow. The war was supposed to be over, but now the Republic faced a new enemy. An enemy devoid of strategy, devoid of the complex, terrifying pragmatism of Revan. Malak was raw, untamed passion, unleashed by the Star Forge. He did not seek to rule a functioning galaxy. He sought to dominate a broken one. He was the sword Revan refused to use, and he wielded it with indiscriminate,
terrifying fervor. But the true victory belonged to Bastila Shan. Her mission was to capture the enemy. Instead, she rescued a ghost. The Republic rejoiced in the death of Darth Revan, unaware that their greatest hope and the very key to defeating the new Dark Lord lay broken, stripped of his identity, and shielded by a single Jedi Knight. The Jedi Council, in their wisdom, chose to erase the Lord and keep the soldier. They wiped his memory clean, a final, ultimate act of faith that light could conquer the deepest dark. Volume 3 of this holocron will not chronicle a new war, but a rescue. It will follow the Jedi Knight who risked everything to re-educate the Sith Lord, and the slow, arduous, and terrifying journey to the Star Forge to reclaim the fate of the galaxy. It is the story of the amnesiac who became a hero again, unaware he was walking the path of his own creation. It is the story of a second chance.
Jedi Archive Restricted Access, Level 10, Catalog ID 88-Descendant. Artifact, The Rule of Two, a historical and philosophical analysis of the Bane lineage. Origin, recovered datachron, corrupted, Sirocco sector. Attributed to Darth, redacted, likely mid-lineage successor. Archivist note: this document represents a hazardous cognitive hazard. It does not merely recount history, it attempts to reprogram the reader's understanding of the Force. It frames the genocide of the Sith Brotherhood not as a tragedy, but as a holy necessity. Proceed with extreme mental shielding. Preface: the nature of the Absolute. To understand the Sith is to understand the nature of the Absolute. The Jedi speak of balance as if it were a static state, a scale resting perfectly level, dust settling on the plates. This is the lie they tell themselves to excuse their inaction. True balance is not stillness. It is the tension of a bowstring drawn to its breaking point. It is the moment before the storm breaks. It is conflict. The Force is not a river to be floated upon. It is a beast to be broken. It is a fire that must be stoked. And fire, by its very nature, consumes. For 1,000 years, the Sith tried to be a forest fire, burning everything, spreading wide, consuming the galaxy in a chaotic blaze. We were bright, yes. We were terrifying, but we burned ourselves out. We turned on each other, fighting for scraps of ash. It was Lord Bane who realized that we should not be a forest fire. We should be a laser, a single, concentrated beam of coherence and destruction. This text is the history of that beam. Book 1, The Failure of the Many, The Era of Khan. 1. The delusion of equality. You have read the histories of Lord Khan and his Brotherhood of Darkness. Even the name reeks of compromise. Khan was a charismatic man, a general of great skill, but as a Sith, he was a heretic. His heresy was the belief that the dark side could be democratized. He looked at the endless infighting of the old Sith empires, the constant backstabbing, the warlords tearing each other apart, and he decided the solution was brotherhood. He declared that all Sith were equal. Dark Lord was a title abolished. We were all merely lords. It was a seductive poison. It allowed the weak to feel strong. It allowed the mediocre to stand shoulder to shoulder with the great and claim they were the same. But the dark side creates a hierarchy of power naturally. It is Darwinian. By enforcing artificial equality, Kayan did not elevate the weak. He shackled the strong. He diluted the venom. 1,000 Sith of moderate power are not equal to 1 Sith of absolute power. 1,000 drops of poison in an ocean are harmless. 1 concentrated dose in the vein is fatal. 2. The Thought Bomb. Bane saw this rot. He walked among the Brotherhood on Ruusan and saw not warriors, but politicians. They were more concerned with appeasing each other than destroying the Jedi. They were sharing the Force, sipping from it like a communal cup, terrified that one might drink more than the other. The thought bomb was not a weapon of war in the traditional sense. It was a surgical instrument. Bane tricked Kayan into using it. He manipulated the Brotherhood's own fear and desperation. When the bomb detonated, trapping the spirits of all Jedi and Sith in that radius within a sphere of eternal torment, Kayan believed he was martyring himself for victory. He was merely taking out the garbage. Bane stood on the edge of the crater, the only survivor. He did not mourn. He looked into the void where the Brotherhood had been and saw a clean slate. The cancer had been cut out. The Sith were dead. Long live the Sith. Book 2, The Axiom of the Two, The Genesis. 1. The Mathematical Necessity. 2. There should be. No more, no less. One to embody power, the other to crave it. Why 2? Why not 3? Why not 1? 1 is stagnation. If a master has no apprentice, they have no challenge. They grow complacent. They begin to believe they are the apex, and in that arrogance, they stop growing. A master without an apprentice is a king without an heir, a dead end. 3 is conspiracy. If there are 3, 2 will inevitably ally against the third, not because they are stronger, but because they are weaker. 2 weak apprentices will band together to kill a strong master, and in doing so, they will lower the bar of what it means to be a Sith Lord. The lineage will degrade. The peak will lower. 2 is perfect. 2 is the binary star system. The Master is the anchor. They possess the knowledge. They are the existing peak of the dark side. Their duty is to withhold nothing, yet give nothing freely. They must force the apprentice to rip knowledge from their grip. The apprentice is the challenger. They are the hunger. Their existence is defined by a single goal: to surpass the Master. Not to equal them, to surpass them. 2. The transfer of power. The death of a Sith Master under the rule of 2 is not a murder. It is a graduation. If the apprentice strikes the Master down through trickery or a lucky blow, they have failed. If they wait until the Master is old and feeble, they have failed. The apprentice must face the Master at the height of their power and break them. This ensures that each generation is stronger than the last. The Master is the whetstone against which the apprentice sharpens themselves. When the blade is sharp enough to cut the stone is discarded. This is why we remain hidden. If the Jedi knew of us, they would hunt us with armies. We cannot risk the apprentice being killed by a stray blaster bolt from a clone trooper. The contest must be pure. It must be between the two. Book 3, The Shadows of Succession. The Sorcery of Zana. 1. The Lesson of Difference. Darth Bane was a man of physical imposition. He was a juggernaut. His connection to the Force was a battering ram. He wore orbalisk armor. He crushed skulls with his bare hands. Naturally, he sought an apprentice who would mirror him. But the Force gave him Zana. Zana was a child when he found her, surrounded by the corpses of Jedi she had snapped with her mind. She was small, physically unremarkable. Bane could have crushed her with one hand, yet she became his doom. Zana proved that the lineage is not a cloning process. If every apprentice is just a weaker copy of the Master, we fail. Zana did not try to outmuscle Bane. She knew she would lose. Instead, she mastered what he ignored: Sith sorcery, the art of the mind, the spells of madness. 2. The Stone versus the Wind. Their final duel is the perfect case study of the rule. Bane came at her with the fury of a storm, a whirlwind of red plasma and lightning. Zana retreated. She defended. She let him exhaust his fury against her walls. And then she whispered. She summoned the nightmares of his past. She turned his own strength into a cage. She did not overpower his body. She dismantled his mind. When Bane fell, it was not because he was weak. It was because Zana had evolved beyond him. She taught the Sith a crucial lesson. Obfuscation is a weapon. Under Zana, we vanished. We stopped being warlords and became rumors. We became the wealthy patron in the background, the whisper in the senator's ear, the accident that alters history. Book 4, The Web of the Future, The Vision of Cognos. 1. Precognition as strategy. If Zana was the master of the mind, her apprentice, Darth Cognos, was the master of time. Cognos possessed a rare talent for precognition. To her, the future was not a vague mist, it was a series of equations. She could see the ripples of an action before the stone was thrown. This shifted the Sith grand plan from reactive to proactive. We stopped fighting wars and started scripting them. Cognos taught us that a lightsaber is a tool of last resort. If you have to ignite your blade, you have already made a mistake in your planning. The true Sith victory is one